Let's move on to another subject now. The quality of meals served under the school feeding program has been a source of worry for many beneficiary schools, parents, and the public at large. The good news, however, is that the program administrators have taken note of the concern, and they say they are taking steps to improve the quality of food served pupils. In the Upper West, Upper East, Northeast, Northern and Savannah regions alone, a total of 5,711 caterers and head cooks are being trained on the use of local ingredients to generate healthy and nutritionally balanced meals to promote record-keeping, food safety and hygiene, among others. The national coordinator of the school feeding program, Mrs. Gertrude Kwashiga, is my guest this morning. Good morning, ma'am, and thank you so much for joining us. It's been a while. We saw you after that commission hearing, and it's been a while. But am I right to suggest this ongoing training is in response to calls, especially video evidence of the poor quality of food served pupils across the country under the school feeding program?
Yes, I know you asked me this question. It is true, but we have also put our programs in place for the year, because we have our annual operating manual that actually talks about training for our women. So we are in the process of doing that before the news came. And so, as you know, programs for the year will have to commence, and that is what we are doing now. But then also, the bad cooking habits of our women also contributes to, the training as well. Yes.
Are there any checks, even not under the school feeding program, when I'm sure people give caterers contracts to do stuff for their weddings, and there's this general notion that caterers will usually use a little below the ingredients you've given them or the money you've given them, and so sometimes they find a way, as we say in local parlance, to cut their chobo or something like that from it. What are the checks? You give these women money. How sure are you that every single peswa is going into the food that they're making for the children?
Actually, for that question would be too difficult to answer. Why? Because they have taken the job as a business. We contracted them, and then we put checks in place. And in other words, I call it due diligence. And then we take them through orientations, you understand? But then, there's no cutting corners for cooking. You have to use the right ingredients for cooking. But then, as you know, that the women sometimes, because of lack of knowledge, they do things on their own and to create problems for themselves. But cooking is just a straightforward thing that has to be observed accordingly.
But that's why so there's a you are the coordinator.
Yes.
There's a program.
So
you have people who must supervise them.
We have them. There's a whole chain of command. School feeding is a whole structure. We have them in the regions and the districts. But for now, what we're doing also to add on to the checks that I'm talking about is to actually go by the we call it the measuring of quantities to be used for the food. So we call it the we actually ask for standardization.
Okay.
So that actually gives the standardized way to give the women enough ingredients to cook and do what and to serve our children.
Help us understand. To the best of my knowledge, these women are given money to go and purchase their own ingredients. Is there any case where you supply them ingredients, or
we don't? They have their own way of purchasing, but then under the new way that we wanted to do things, we wanted to bridge the gap between the farmer and the caterer, as well as the food processor. So building the linkages between the farmer in the district or communities is what NEPAD came to come and introduce to us. And then that one is to actually work on the homegrown school feeding. So, and then we also have to take our programs to FAO to also help us finance that as we put that on a larger, a larger way now to actually make sure that these things are being observed, and then all the linkages are working properly. Yes.
Let me come back to the issue of checks. We know for teachers, for example, you have district supervisors coming around. Do you have a stipulated time, or what is the structure in terms of how and where and when you supervise these caterers and the kind of meals they're preparing?
Yeah, we have the monitoring team.
Okay.
We have the M&E, monitoring and evaluation in our department. So they oversee to some of these things. They have their tools for actually going onto the field. In other words, they have the checklist to make sure that all the things that are required and that the program is observed. And so we are doing that effectively. But for some time now, it's been a problem on us. Monitoring has never gone on for over a year, but we are working on it.
And why is that?
You know, well, funding and all kinds of things. But then we have gone to actually WFP to actually help us with the joint
That's
monitoring.
the World Food Program.
Yes, and then you can see of late, recently, the ministry carried on with some joint monitoring. The Social Protection Department was involved, you know, was tasked to actually do that monitoring. So it was a joint monitoring that they did together. But I think today, the reports will be coming, and then we'll take a clue from there.
So what happens when you realize a caterer is not following the standards or is not providing the quality meal that you expect?
I don't want to say this again, because normally, if those things are not put in place, according to our program, you know, there must be a way of punishment.
So what kind? I'm looking at practical examples. What kinds of punishment do you
I think
make
it has been in the news, so JoyNews
but we'd like you to tell us.
that
once
punishment was to have the person the sanctions. You know, that either sanction one would be replacing the person with a more efficient person, or the person is sacked, you know, from the job. In other words, the job is taken away from you and given to a more competent person who understands the cooking, you know, ethics, properly.
Permit me to just ask you, at what point did you become coordinator of?
Well, I was a deputy for a year and a half before assuming the office of the recent responsibility as acting national coordinator.
And this was when the MPP came into power?
Yes.
Okay. One of the biggest concerns for many people has been getting caterers.
Yeah.
And what kind of selection process we go through. There's been this big claim that this is heavily political, and that you look for caterers who either subscribe to or are sympathizers of a party before they're given the job. How do you select your caterers?
No, but you know, from the beginning there was an open, registration that was done with all the documents that you have to purchase. It was advertised in the papers, and that anybody can purchase the forms and apply, and that was done effectively. So we didn't know that all the parties are involved, as I can speak. Because when I go for meetings, I see all the parties, you know, around. And we talk like sisters, because it's a woman's job, you understand? So we don't actually, we don't take, I don't want to mention something.
So you're dismissing the claims that caterers are selected on political basis, or which party they belong to?
No, we don't do that. We have not done it. Otherwise, the clear motion was that they must buy the forms and apply, and that was done. With due diligence, yes, and that was done seriously, yes.
There's also the concern of arrears. You mentioned that for a year now you haven't done any monitoring because of money issues.
Yes.
Have your caterers been paid up to date? Because there is a direct link between that and the kind of food they will serve the children.
Apparently, you can see that for the MPP government, or government that I belong to, we have done several payments. So this one is going to be the 5th payment since we assumed office.
And how do you pay? In what tranches?
Yes, we pay them monthly. We pay them termly.
Okay.
You know, every term caterers are paid what they have cooked for. You understand? So there might be some delays due to procedures. You understand? Because you cannot just cook and all of a sudden pay. We go through procedures before the money is disbursed.
So they pre-finance the cooking?
Yeah,
and they take the money after the term.
Yes, you have to pre-finance. It's all in the applications. Yes, that you have to pre-finance. You should have equipment to cook with. The pre-financing is to do with a term, at least a term or more. That was specified in the agreements. So they know that they have to pre-finance their jobs. It's a business, and so they are paid after, you know, they have worked. Yes. And so they should have logistics. Yes, they should have the knowledge to carry on with the job. And yes, all those things were actually checked before the job was assigned.
When you say knowledge, and I cook,
yeah, knowledge.
I cook for my family.
Yeah, skills.
Do I pass to be employed as a caterer for the school feeding program? Because I cook for my family.
But, because you can cook because you're a woman, but then when we talk about skills, you understand, we're talking about voluminous cooking. See, that is what it is, because the children are in numbers. And so that is the skills, that's the knowledge that I'm talking about.
So how do you determine, does someone have to produce a certificate to show that they've gone to probably vocational school or they've gone to a catering school?
Yes, they show it. Most of them. You cannot have 100%, of course. You must feel for women. You understand? That is why the work actually allows training to go on. And that's what we're doing. Yes, because even you know, from time to time, you must be upgraded. Is that not it? With the current skills, and that is what it is. In cooking, you cannot have it all. You see, every time, even me, I go, last year I was in the US for a training program. Yeah, so I have to come back with all this knowledge to do what? To inculcate into the women.
So this training program, are you personally going to teach the women the skills?
Indeed, yes. I am in it. It's my concept to make sure that this training goes down. We call it the step down, and we also call it the the hands-on training, so that every woman is being brought together as we do the training together. So I was there, and I'm there to make sure that everything goes on smoothly and successfully.
So what are some of the areas that you've realized the caterers may lack some skill in, for which you have to
yes,
train?
It's true, because when we talk about nutritional cooking or innovative initiatives, it's all about skills and innovations. Cooking is about creativity and innovations. And so when we are giving them to cook nutritiously for the children to eat, at least one hot meal a day, we know that they have things in their communities, like I said, foodstuffs in their communities through the farmers that they have to use to cook. Sometimes they do not even know that the green leaves that are there in their own localities can be blended. Like, for example, we have beans leaves, we have sweet potato leaves, we also have maybe pumpkin leaves. They are all there in the north. But sometimes they don't know that they have to blend the three together, because all this things comes in seasons. Yeah, so if this is out of season, they don't know that this can be used. So we are trying to bring all these ideas together so that we show them how it can be used, so that you do not overcook the food. You understand? To destroy the vitamin or the nutritional benefit in the food.
Yes. And I hope you're telling them about how to use spices, because a lot of people are concerned caterers use too much spices and the food is not too healthy.
We have spices. We have the rosemary is a spice. We have the bay leaves.
You know the spices I'm talking about. I don't want to mention the names.
We don't allow that at all.
The sodiums and those
we don't allow it. Okay. But in the north they use more of dawa dawa.
All right.
Yes, that's a healthy spice.
Okay.
Yeah, the local, the local way.
Sure. It's been a real pleasure having you. So when is this training supposed to end finally?
Actually, we're doing that for 10 or 12 days. So we are finishing.
Across the country?
We're finishing next. No. In the northern
Only in
sector.
the northern sector.
Yeah, the 5 regions.
Okay.
I'm talking about Upper East, Upper West. I'm talking about Northeast, Savannah, and Northern region.
Yes. And would you bring it to the other regions?
Of course, yes. We have 60 regions now. It's covering the whole nation.
Okay.
So from there, we are descending down to Ashanti, Brong-Ahafo, Ahafo-Ano, Bono East, and all that. Then we come down to Western region, Western North, yes, and then we come to Central region.
Okay.
Yes.
It's been a real pleasure having you, Mrs. Kushiga. We'll be following up. After this training, we hope to see some improvement, especially in schools where we saw very watery soup. I'm sure you've seen that video,
I saw it. It's just rather unfortunate. Yeah, so we will not. This is why we are actually going down to the communities. I'm there myself to make sure that these things are carried on, effectively, and then with a success.
And by the way, quickly, did you find that caterer who prepared that very watery soup?
Yeah, we have.
And is she still working?
No. We have actually taken her off the program.
All right. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure hosting you.
Yes.
That's Mrs. Kwashiga. Yes. She is the acting national coordinator of the school feeding program. And we've been talking about the quality of food served and the concern by many parents and beneficiary schools.